AITA for refusing to pay for my mother's hospital bills? Shortly after my 5th birthday, my dad found out that I was not biologically his. He immediately threw me and my mother out of his life, which now looking back I can't really blame him. It would be a nightmare to raise someone who was a constant reminder of your wife cheating. Shortly after that, we moved from a mansion to a very small apartment, and my life has been absolutely lonely and horrible since then. The love that my mother had for me disappeared in an instant, and she and my half-siblings constantly blame me for being the reason for the divorce, have hated me since. I was constantly told by my own family, including my mother, that they all wish that I would die and would have never been born, and things like that. I try not to get my half-siblings' words get to me, since they were kids as well, but it still hurts to this date. My mother married my stepdad when I was 10, and he and his kids, my step-siblings, have made it very clear they didn't like me, and things got even worse. I was given the smallest room, no new clothes or things, and constantly ignored, if not being bullied by my family. Both my step-family and half-siblings went on great and fantastic trips and were given all the latest gadgets and everything as well, while I was left behind. It actually came to the point where no one had wished me even a happy birthday since I was 8 years old. I had no friends at school as well. I was that quiet kid who was always isolated and left out of everything. I, 27, am now managed to get a full ride to Dream College and am now financially quite secure. I now have very good friend and an amazing fiancé with whom I have a 3-year-old son, and her family has adopted me as one of their own. My finance also convinced me to go to therapy, for which I am very grateful as well, and I am basically doing great in life and have moved past everything. Recently my mother contacted me a few days ago saying she needed my help, money actually, cause she has cancer, and I firmly but politely refused her, saying that, while I sympathize with her situation, it is not my responsibility and she should lose my number and never contact me again. I am now hounded by my step-family and even my half-siblings that I shouldn't refuse, and my response was pretty much the same, and have blocked them as well. Yesterday my mother called me from her friend's phone, this time ordering me to pay since she has sacrificed so much for me, to which I replied, "You never sacrificed anything. You gave away everything you had cause you just couldn't keep your legs closed," and hung up on her. I have blocked them all and now just keep receiving messages calling me an asshole among other things from new numbers, which I promptly block. But now occasionally I feel quite guilty. What my mother did was horrible, yes, but no one deserves to die for such things. So, Reddit AITA for refusing to pay my mother's hospital bill, even though it may lead to her death. Now for some comments. NTA. You don't owe anything to your abusers. And everyone has to die eventually. It is no coincidence that they're trying to get back into your life at this precise moment when they need money and you have it. Please continue to enjoy the wonderful life you have built for yourself and leave these people behind. These are the same people who cry, "But we are family. Why can't the rest of the half-siblings and step-siblings scrape up money together instead of dumping it on one person? Though op needs to keep their head up and these people out of their lives." NTA. Agreed, NTA. Also, don't call her mother, she's just a woman who birthed you, she was never a mother. Thank you for calling them what they are, abusers. She's your sister, just because we share DNA does not take away she tortured me for years. Mentally and physically. Your feelings are valid. They are your abusers. The best thing you can do is live your life and be happy. The die part is pretty harsh. On the other hand, where is her new husband and the step-siblings? Did they pony up and are now incapable of providing more to meet these bills? If they have not, then they have no business asking you to pony up. If you have significant hard feelings, tell her you will consider it in 1 month for each birthday they ignored of yours. That ought to slam the door pretty hard. NTA. It won't lead to her death. Hospitals have payment plans and programs. Your large ex-family can pool their money to help. They are just greedy butt wipes. Ignore. It certainly helps knowing this, thank you. If in the US, having to pay costly medical bills can result in people dying. When you have to choose between a life-saving treatment or food and rent, it can become a no-win situation. Some treatments are not covered by insurance or only partially covered, and the patient probably has co-pays and high deductibles. At some point, the patient could face that decision. Do I get expensive treatments that might not cure the ailments and go bankrupt, or do I provide for my family? My grandmother recently died, in part because she couldn't afford her cancer treatment until the next month. By then it was too late. The only people who say there are ways to get healthcare and money isn't an issue are the people with money. This is the land of the free. The freedom to die or afford medical care. NTA though. She didn't care about you, so don't worry about her. Her life decisions cut out the people who would care for her. That is not your fault, and don't feel guilty about it. People should treat others how they want to be treated. She made her bed. NTA. Sometimes your horrible mistreatment of your own children can come back to haunt you. I'd have said, pretend I was never born like you always wished for, and never call me again. Just like you wished I didn't exist, I really don't gaff what happens to you now. Go ask the other kids you showed love to for money. It'd be the ultimate revenge if you were able to develop some sort of friendly relationship with her former husband who she cheated on. Just tell him that his success inspired you to want to be successful and thank him for all that he did, because he was actually the best parent you ever had. If that could lead to something nice, but it might. While your revenge does sound very good, my mother's ex-husband and I never talked again after the divorce, and he married someone that my mother never really knew and has lived a happy life after that, which he deserves after what my mother did to him. NTA. You were abused by not only your mother, but all of your siblings and your step-family for your mother's mistake. Then years later, the only reason she's calling you is because you're successful and can pay her medical bills? Ha! It's certainly ironic. I don't really blame my half-siblings for how they felt. They saw their entire family crumbling and saw me as the reason for it. The oldest has even apologized to me when she turned 24, and I have had no contact with the other two. Thank you for your time and response. You didn't ask to be born, and yet your mom thinks that all of the things she did for you, read the bare minimum, entitles her to the value of your hard work. It just further reiterates that she and the rest of your family are toxic. I'm glad you didn't let the circumstances of your birth hold you back from being a healthy, successful individual. You should be really proud of yourself. Both the kids and the adults had over 20 years to go. Okay, you know what we did was not cool. Let's reach out and make proper amends. The fact none of them did. There's no excuse whatsoever for the fact that people that are all older than up and have been adults for over a decade never attempted to make up for their abuse. All of them are toxic and not actually family indeed. If you choose to answer the phone in the future, you should just ask, who is this? Sorry, I don't know anyone by that name. Hope you find who you are looking for, and then just hang up. If they call back and say it's a family member, just respond with, I'm sorry you haven't found who you are looking for, but I was orphaned around 5 years old and don't have any family. She made her choice to treat you like crap. She has her husband and step family. They can provide for her. How can not paying the bill lead to her death? If she and her new family need help, that's what federal and state agencies are for. They can also do a GoFundMe. Cancer treatment can cost millions. No government will touch that. In the US, they absolutely will deny you cancer treatment if you are unable to pay. You can get emergency room service regardless of ability to pay, but not things like chemo, radiation, surgery, rehab, etc. So, no money could absolutely result in her death. That said, op is NTA. You are not obligated to do anything for someone who abused you. Also, if you pay one hospital bill, it could make you responsible for the rest. They can use that one payment as legal grounds to go after you for the rest. Don't give them a dime. NTA. Not at all. Good on you for getting away from them. Stand strong and don't let them get to you. What goes around comes around, and it is now biting your awful family hard in the ass. I am so sorry you had to grow up that way, and you handled that situation way better than I could have. I think that was a perfect response, And you should just keep blocking everyone who contacts you about the money. Your mother won't die because you aren't helping pay for her treatments. Your step-siblings and half-siblings should be the ones helping her. You just keep doing you and living your life. It certainly helps to know that she is exaggerating her situation about how I am her only option. Thank you for your response. Even as children, they all should have known better. The fact that even by the time you reached age 27, nobody ever reached out to make amends to utterly ruining your life shows you exactly how much of a family they were, none whatsoever. None of them treated you as family, so you have zero family obligation to any of them. Get restraining orders, since they keep harassing you. NTA. I don't really blame them cause they had their own world torn apart and saw me the root of the problem. My eldest half-sibling was the only one who ever reached out and apologized. She and I have a somewhat of a decent relationship, and I have had no contact with the other two since I was 16. NTA, they are horrible people. You don't owe anything to them. You've been unfairly blamed for a mistake your mother did. You were not the reason for this, you were a consequence of the reason, your mother cheating. You were treated unfairly by your step-family, probably due to the way your mother treated you. Her misery and anger is your fault, and every problem that she or they have can be found in you. However, this is the mind of someone unable to take responsibility for their own action and consequences and pawns them off to a child. The only voice you need to listen to is your own conscience. You owe nothing to your mother because she has given you nothing. You owe absolutely nothing to your step-family, in fact they are the ones who owe you an apology. If you feel bad for not giving her money, then give her some money. If you don't feel bad, then don't. That's it. As far as anybody else is concerned, you are absolutely NTA, and it's your own right to shut the door in their face. Stay out of that shit show. Funny how the rest of the family is expecting you to take the high road with your finances, even though it seems they refuse to ever take the high road in your life. Are they going to pay that bill? No? Then why should they hypocritically tell you to? Block them and stay in North Carolina. You don't need that poison in your life. I'm sorry your mother has cancer, truly, but you didn't give her cancer. It's not your obligation. Firstly, I am so sorry, that was your childhood. Unreal to be blamed for even existing. Although nowhere near as bad as yours, my mother was abusive too, and I cut contact a long time ago. She died, COVID, April 2020, and I have not shed a tear, and I didn't go to her funeral. I don't owe her shit, and neither do you. She didn't raise you or sacrifice shit. Fuck that. Keep them blocked and enjoy your life with your real family. Don't worry, the cancer is what will probably lead to her death in the end. You have nothing to do with it, and at this point, and after years of treatment, you don't owe her anything, and don't you dare feel guilty about it. Keep everything that has come in so far and collect everything that will come in the future, and then file a restraining order or anything similar against them, or at least consult someone for legal help, as it seems like you may need it going forward. NTA, good luck, and while you never found happiness with your family back then, I hope you'll have many happy ahead of you with your own now. I have documented everything and will certainly take legal action if they start physically contacting me, like showing up at our home and work, etc. So far all contact had been digital. Thank you for your response.